Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you, ma'am. Uh,
Greetings to your listeners.
Indeed, thanks a lot on their behalf as well. Now, Madam Attorney, we have been tracking this situation here in the constituency of West Central St. Andrew with Prime Minister
Yes.
Holness and indeed Mr. Paul Buchanan. You're one of the attorney that is representing Mr. Buchanan. But this morning, we want to speak with you in your capacity wider, that as an attorney, to really just explain the situation to my listeners here in Jamaica, what obtains there in terms of the general situation when you have a situation like this. So, first of all, talk to us how, in terms of time frame on this, how long could a matter like this take to basically come to conclusion?
Well, the courts treat matters like this with priority because clearly it has implications for the governance of the country and for the continuity of governance in the country.
Yes.
Which you don't want there to be any break, really, in governance. And so, whereas sometimes other litigants might wait a long time for their matters to come up, these matters are given priority by the court. So they will be fast-tracked.
Yes.
In fact, the timelines for raising issues like these, and when I say like these, I'm talking about of election irregularities, things that could change the status quo in terms of who is the member of parliament who is sitting in parliament on behalf of a constituency of people. The timeline for raising issues, very tight. And so it's within the first 14 days after the election that any submission must be brought before the Constituted Authority. That was done. And then within, I think it was 14 or 7, I forget the timeline right now, and I don't have my notes with me. But the timeline for the Constituted Authority to respond, again, was very short, and they responded within that time. We are at the stage now where the Constituted Authority, which is a special body of persons designated to hear not petitions, but to hear irregularities in an election, that body made their ruling, and it is that ruling that is being challenged. The timeline for this is not set out in law, but we know that the courts will treat it with high priority to make sure that their decisions are brought as soon as possible. We're waiting on a decision now that we expect by the 8th of December, which is next Monday.
Next Monday. All right, good. So let's walk through the process. Now, it started at a point where it was taken to the election court first. That's what happened? What happened? What was the first?
It actually didn't go to the election court.
What happened first?
It went to the Constituted Authority.
Thank you very much. Yes, the Constituted Authority. The Constituted Authority did not find what transpired from there. Share with us, walk us through, because we want to get our listeners to understand these things, Madam Attorney at Law.
All right. So the Constituted Authority is like it's a first step before a matter goes before the election court. Although there is another route where the matter could go straight via election petition to the election court. In this instance, went through the Constituted Authority. So that group is supposed to determine whether the complaint of the candidate, in their opinion, should be presented to the election court. The election court, as a court, obviously, will hear testimony, evidence. Persons will be sworn, cross-examined, like a case. The Constituted Authority does not have to do that, and they did not in this instance do that. So they read affidavits, sworn evidence, but they didn't hear from the applicants personally.
Mm-hmm.
They read the affidavits that people complaining of whatever the irregularities, whether people are allowed to vote twice, whether there was some kind of delay in voting, intimidation of voters, various irregularities that could upset the balance.
Mm-hmm.
In this instance, the Constitutional Authority, having read the affidavit, they did not find that it should be brought before the election court.
Yes.
But, right. And so Paul Buchanan, who is the candidate that made the complaint, can go another step, because the Constitutional Authority, being a statutory appointed board of persons, they are subject to what is known as judicial review.
Yes.
Now, judicial review is where any body, and by body I mean person or group of persons, who has authority to make decisions on behalf of the government, as appointed by the government, by the state.
Yes.
That body making a decision, if their decision is thought by anyone affected by the decision to be perverse, to be wrong, to be not the right decision in law, then you can judicially review their decision. It's similar to an appeal, but it's called judicial review because it's not really an appeal, because the result of judicial review is not to substitute a new decision. What the court does when it judicially reviews their decision is that the court will say that decision was wrong and its decision can be quashed. We call that certiorari. Or they can be mandamus, meaning that the body is directed to make a certain other decision.
Good.
So we're waiting now for that to happen. That's what we're expecting to happen, that the decision will be quashed.
The decision will be quashed. Now, unquashing that decision, what happened from there?
All right. So since that was a decision that said the matter should not go before the election court, then if that decision is quashed, then the matter will go before the election court. And so now we engage the election court process. And this is the process where the affiant, that's the person who swore an affidavit saying, I was there on election day and saw this and saw that and heard this and heard that. Those affiants, those persons, witnesses, if you want to call them that, will go before the election court. They will be called there to testify. And in their testifying, of course, they'll be cross-examined and tested to see the veracity and how they stand up, how credible they are. And there should be examination and investigation of what they are saying. And then if it is found that there are, in fact, irregularities that bring the election into disrepute, then the election can be overturned. And if the election is overturned, there will need to be another election, what we call a by-election.
A by-election, all right. Based on what you saw there or what is being argued, if it goes according to what you just mentioned and overturned, are we looking at a total runover of the entire constituency or part thereof?
I would expect it to be the entire constituency.
The entire constituency. I'm asking you these things, Madam Attorney, because a number of persons believe that, listen, once the court rule in favor of Buchanan on or before the 8th, then it means that Prime Minister Holness would have to demit Parliament. So we're saying that that's not so, and you have just outlined the various steps. That would be step one, and there are a number of things triggered from there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
It's the election court that would have that power to say that the person who is sitting in Parliament is not entitled to sit in Parliament, because the election by the people of that person to Parliament is to be voided. The election is to be voided. Only the election court can say that. And the election court has not yet heard anything in this matter because the constituted authority didn't think the matter should go before the election court. Paul Buchanan is challenging that decision by judicial review. If the current court, the judicial review court, says it goes before the election court, then we go to that step. Several steps.
Several steps. All right. As I said, the Paul had 3 persons representing him there in terms of attorney. Yourself, attorney Arnoldo Brown, and indeed Mr. Wildman, Hugh Wildman. Now,
Yes.
based on what you saw, and you can either comment or you can leave it alone, depending on how far you can go. Based on the argument that was put forward, do you believe that the Buchanan has any chance of being successful in this round and it goes to the election court?
Well, I would say just this. Yes, I believe that there is a chance. It's up to the court to make their decision, and the court can rule one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But certainly, I believe that the court can rule either way.
And
being on the team, the submissions that I heard, let me leave it alone. The matter is before the court.
oh, all right,
The court
good.
can rule either way.
Good. And that you're saying, Madam Attorney at Law, we could be in receipt of that information by the latest, the 8th of December. Today is the 1st. So by sometime next week, we would basically know what is happening there.
That's the date that the court promised,
Mm-hmm.
and we hope that they'll be able to have that decision ready in time, as promised.
As promised. I'm sure, I don't know that you can go much further, as you said that it is in the court, but certainly what we wanted is to just get the lay of the land, the information, the education process out there as to how these matters proceeds, because that's what we do, Stacey. We try to get information out to the public. We don't have a view as to, well, we have a view, but we don't make those views public. Our job here is to really get the information out. Out. And I think you did an exceptionally good job in terms of outlining everything there. Stacey, I know that you... Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm saying I hope so. I hope it's clear. If anybody has questions, I hope I'll be able to answer them too.
Good. All right. I won't be able to take the question while you're on, but I'm sure that a number of persons who are listening